I'm still working on my dump trailer here. I've got the brakes changed on it, new seals put in the wheels and stuff. I greased the spring hangers, shackles and stuff on that. Now I'm working on the lights. The rear tail light and brake light was intermittent on that right side, on the right rear side. The ones on this side worked mostly. But of course the wiring goes through the frame. This is a piece of rectangular box tubing here for the frame that's about 5 inches by 3.5 inches or something like that. And then they've got a piece of box tubing coming out here welded on it that the lights were mounted on for the tail. They just torched the cutouts on it, which is kind of rough, but it works. And then there were these rubber grommets that fit in there and light fixtures. This would be the brake and tail light, and this is a clearance light for the back side here. And they've got a cutout in the frame rail up on the front for the front clearance light, a yellow clearance light. But all this stuff was getting pretty rusty, and like I said, the left front clearance light worked, and I think the left rear clearance light worked, but the right ones, neither the front clearance light nor the front clearance light didn't work, but the rear one was intermittent on the right side. So it's getting pretty rusty back here. It's time to clean this up. I've done this once before, but it's time to clean it up some more. This side here was working okay, but the wiring runs back through this frame rail, like I said, and then it's split off of this wiring harness and goes over to that right side. Well, the tail light is spliced in, two different lights over here. It goes both to this rear tail and brake light and to the clearance lights. Then it went on through, and then it was spliced in, and there was some lights in the middle of the frame underneath there, and they got broke out a long time ago and didn't work. So anyway, there was a splice there, and then they went over to the other side where there was again another splice where it went into the clearance light and to the rear tail light brake light assembly. Anyway, I just went ahead and ripped all that stuff out of there and run a new wire through the frame. I brought it through this way and spliced it in on this side with fresh splices and got it run through the other side to hook up to that wiring harness over there on that side. And then I've been cleaning this up a little bit here. I just took a wire brush and cleaned some of the rust off, and then a big Scotch-Brite pad and cleaned some of the rust off there. Then they had the ground on here was just a screw, a self-driving screw, a self-tapping screw that went through this frame rail right here, and that's what the ground was attached to. Well, of course that was getting all rusty, and the screw stuck out an inch, and it was sharp pointed on the outside there stuff. So anyway, it was kind of nasty and rusty, and one of the problems you always have with lighting systems or any electrical system, when everything looks good, a lot of times the grounds go bad on them and you can't tell that. So I decided to go ahead and fix the ground, and this is the ground wire for the clearance light here. You can see the connector for that there, the ring connector was broken on that when I took it apart, and it was underneath a rusty screw. Well, the one here for this one is dirty, and it'd probably work, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and splice them together in one of these butt connectors, and then put another wire in there with a ring connector on it, and clean up this metal here. I've got my die grinder with some sandpaper on it. I'm going to clean the metal up inside there. I'll be re-drill that hole. I might not have to re-drill that hole. I might be able to get a number 6 screw through there, but put a number 6 stainless steel screw and washer in there, and get that set up so it has a good positive ground both on this side and the other side. I don't know whether I'm going to do that on the front clearance lights or not, because they just have a little hole in them, like this little, what is that, 2-inch hole there, 2.5-inch hole, something like that. And I don't think I might be able to. I'll see what I can do on those front ones and get those cleaned up too. But get nice clean electrical connections made here and get these lights working. We're losing daylight now. It gets dark about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and it's going to get dark earlier and earlier every night, and so it's nice to have lights at work here if we get out and make our trip in the dark, or even on the dark days. Days here get dark, and it's just nice to have lights back here on the trailer, especially turn signals and brake lights. So that's got good clean metal in there now. And I think, pretty sure I get a number 6 screw through there. Might even get a number 8 screw through there. Anyway, I'll put a screw and I'll put a nut here on the back side of it. I think I'm going to clean up the back side of it too, so it's got good positive metal to metal connection there. Okay, I got a piece of wire set up here for a pigtail for ground, and I've got a brand new number 8 machine screw and a lock nut to put on it, the stainless steel. I'm going to put that in there. I've got a ring on there, and I didn't really need an insulated ring, but that's what I got, so that's what I'm going to use. Because this nut for a number 8 screw uses an 11/32 wrench to tighten it up. I don't really have one over here. I got a nut driver, and I'll use that. These are all screws that I bought for building the fuselage of the airplane when I built it, and I used these Torx screws on there. I used Torx screws wherever I could on the airplane because they don't twist out, cam out on the driver end of them like they, oh, that's not going to work. Oh, stupid. Next driver's got a magnet in it, and I won't let it go in all the way onto that nut because the nut's dome shaped and the screw sticks. So I guess I'm going to have to go get an 11/32 wrench after all. So anyway, on houses, when you wire a house, generally the current carrying wire is black and the neutral wire is white and the ground wire is green. And if you have 2 hot wires, like if you run in a 220 volt system or something where you have 2 110 wires, then the 3rd wire in there, the 4th wire I guess you could say, is going to be red. Now generally on a DC circuit, a black wire is going to be ground, a red wire is going to be hot, and then you have different colors of wire for other different things. For example, on this, the brown wire is for the trailer lights, the running lights, and the yellow wire here is for the stop turn signal for the left side. There's a green wire for the stop turn signal on the other side. The ground wires, like I said, will usually be black. In this case, they're white off of here, which I don't know what color they were originally. This is old, but I got a brown wire in here I'm using for the pigtail on that, simply because I'm reusing the wire that I pulled out of there. The dirty little secret is electricity doesn't care what color the shielding on the wire is. It's humans that do. So anyway, I got to go get an 11/32 wrench to hold that nut so I can tighten that up. Now when I did this a few years ago, I ran another wire through here with the idea of putting backup lights in here, and I never did hook those up. I'd like to, but I'm not sure exactly how to hook backup lights on here without them being in the way. If I put them up here, they're in the way of these crank handles right here for the rear stabilizers. So I guess I'll just put this back in there for now and see what we can do for the future maybe. So right now I'm just going to stuff these in here. I'm going to go see if my wife got that black paint. I'm going to have her get me some black paint to paint these. I cleaned the rust off of them a little bit and stuff, and I'm going to paint them up before I put these lights back together. So I'll see if she got that, and then I can also go over to the other side and redo the ground wire on the other side like I did on this side for the other lights over there. Well, I got these lights all back together, cleaned up, and I got a new light for that one side there that was burnt out. So these rubber grommets were really crusty. They were really rusty, nasty, and dirty. So I took them out of there. I took them up to the basement and soaked them in some detergent and hot water for a while, and then scrubbed them real good. Got them real clean, got all the rust and crust and stuff off of them. The light fixtures themselves were a little bit dirty too. I washed those all off. When I got done with them in the hot water, they felt pretty good, but after sitting out here overnight, they were pretty stiff. Oh, anyway, I cleaned up the metal parts of this and then got some of that rusty metal paint and painted them. These two back ones and then two where it goes in the front. Dried those out with my heat gun, and then I went to put these in. I cleaned those up like I said earlier, and then I took a little bit of silicone grease and just rubbed into them real good on all sides all the way around. That didn't loosen them up any, so I just took the heat gun and warmed them up a little bit, and that softened them up pretty good. I got them to pop in there to those spots where they go. So they're all hooked up now and wired up. Let's see if they work. Okay, for some reason they're not working. Oh, this left or right one is working. Both right sides are working. The left sides aren't working. Why is that now? And the right side is working. Let me see if I can see what happens when I turn the turn signal on. Alright, the turn signal works, so that tells me that I've got something wrong with the wire that goes to both this clearance light here and to that tail light. While I'm checking the turn signals, I'll check this right one, and it's not working. I guess I got a little troubleshooting to do. Well, I worked on this trailer till almost dark last night or yesterday afternoon. We got the lights all fixed up on it, and then today I had to go flying. Yeah, like I had to go flying. The game biologist had called me the other day and wanted to go do a goat survey. So yesterday the weather was too bad to do it. Today it was pretty good, so we went up and did a goat survey today, and that took up most of the day. I got home a little bit ago and got my paperwork done and stuff, and then I come out to work on the trailer again. I've got a new hydraulic pump with a bigger reservoir in it. It should be able to raise these cylinders up their full height. But I decided not to put that in because I'm not sure what the fittings are on it. I got to looking at it and they're not the same fittings as what I have, so I have to come up with some new fittings for it. And don't know exactly what they are yet, and I probably have to order them. I'm pretty sure they don't have them here in town. Well, I did come out and work on the electrical on this trailer again. Now that plug had got some corrosion in it in a couple of spots. One of them, the pins, was the one that puts electrical 12 volt plus back here to the back end to kind of charge the battery and stuff. And then the others were kind of crudted up too. It had got dragged once, so it didn't quite fit into the receptacle for it quite the way it should and wouldn't lock into it, so sometimes it'd come out. Well, I got a new cord and I wired that in. Whoever had wired this trailer before did not use the right color codes for the wires going back to the back end, so I had to kind of jury rig it for that. But anyway, I got a new cable wired in for that. Now we'll see if everything works like it's supposed to, if the lights work anymore, if I have to fool with them anymore. Okay, well, the lights all work. They actually are a lot brighter now than they were before, putting all that new wiring in, or putting new connectors in and stuff and cutting back the old ones really made a big difference on that. So now I gotta check and see if the brakes work, and the way to do that is to drive the truck and to tow the trailer. I'm gonna go ahead and let the trailer down.